Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Diploma Awarding Ceremony on this absolutely beautiful, perfect day. The downside of this is that all my lame Irish jokes for the weather don't work anymore. Okay, one. What's the Irish word for a cloudless sky? Why do you think it would be an Irish word for a cloudless sky? Okay, that's it. So graduates, faculty, families, guests, staff, and friends, welcome to the Campus Green. How wonderful to have you all here with us for the Harvard Divinity School Diploma Ceremony. I want to just start by congratulating the class of 2018. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I'd also like to take a moment to say thank you to parents, families, friends, on behalf of our students for your crucial support throughout the graduate studies here. So graduates, let's give a round of applause to family and friends. So it's my pleasure to introduce the student speakers this year, selected by competition, and they are Denson Staples and Lindsey Franklin.
To our classmates, faculty, friends, family members, what a 3 years it has been.
Or to the MTS graduates, 2 years. Or to the PhD graduates, 6 years.
Or 7 or 9. For everyone's morale, we're just gonna cap it at 9, I think. But it could always be worse. You could be a faculty member. What a lifetime it's been in that case.
But no matter how long it's taken us, most of us have struggled at some point to arrive at this day. And to be honest, we kind of struggled to make sense of this time in a way that felt fitting for commencement.
So instead of saying what feels right for commencement, we're going a different route, saying what feels true.
At a moment when the world is on fire, as it so often is, our time at HDS has been full of ideas.
Go figure, it's grad school.
From books and articles, to conversations with professors and classmates, to archaeological digs and studying sacred text, to learning new languages. This has been a time of encountering new ideas of all kinds.
As the old folks used to say, that's not nothing. Ideas matter. Although we like to think that we are their authors, our ideas also form us. What we imagine is possible in this life is constrained by the ideas that we hold.
In our final religion and race class this spring, and drawing from Saidiya Hartman's discussion of the afterlife of slavery, Professor Th.D. Thomas reminded my classmates and me that ideas have an afterlife. we are sometimes haunted by their longevity. This ritual of commencement marks an end to the years we have spent wrestling with ideas in conversations with our faculty, our colleagues, and our communities. Commencement is the beginning of an afterlife of those ideas. We are now responsible for how they live on through us.
We graduates have each encountered meaningful, challenging, self-altering ideas here. I still remember a gathering here in the fall of 2015, almost 3 years ago now, at the start of another academic year. Harvey Cox delivered a convocation address that he entitled "The Babylonian Captivity of Theology." In it, Cox argued that theology, by its very nature, is or should be troublesome and vex the guardians of the status quo. I still remember how inspiring it was to hear at the outset of a divinity school education Cox's call to action. "Let's be troublesome," he declared, before reminding us that in order to be troublesome, one has to be first troubled. I was inspired by Cox's words then. I disagree with them a bit more now, but go figure, it's grad school. You see, after 3 years studying Islamic and Christian theology, I have seen the many ways that thinking theologically can support and maintain the status quo. Prophets and Jesus and God can be invoked to fetter human life as much as to set it free. If I'm honest, I'm hard-pressed to think of a single crisis or social problem today that has not been exacerbated by theology. Police brutality against brown and black bodies, including here at Harvard less than a month ago. Pervasive sexual and gender-based violence, spotlighted recently by Tarana Burke's Me Too campaign. Unchecked anti-Muslim racism, disinhibited in many by those now leading our country. School shootings happen more frequently than school semesters nowadays. Flint, Michigan still has no clean water. We trust you can recount the litany of ills plaguing our world. And how can we not see the traces of theology here? When God is invoked to sanction crusader violence and colonial missionary activity yesterday, or settler colonial displacement of racial and religious others still today, our path to the hyper-surveillance of black and brown bodies is ready-made. When your masculinist, omnipotent Father God is an unmoved mover penetrating the world, life in a femme or feminized body becomes more precarious. When your God is the only way, the only truth, the only life, the denigration of adherents of other faiths or those who affiliate with none follows quickly thereafter. Yes, then theology can be troublesome to the world, but sometimes it is troubling not because it vexes the guardians of the status quo, but rather is weaponized by them. So the deeper and more unsettling truth is that theology is what we make it. At the center of so much talk about God is us, humanity, pulling levers behind a curtain, creating Oz, a God in our own image and likeness.
It was my first heady year here at HDS when I read Professor Myra Rivera's Poetics of the Flesh, describing the folds between body and flesh, flesh and word, body and world. She illustrates with her words the ways we are constituted in relation to the world. Sitting in the library reading that text, my whole body came alive, tingling, my face flushed. The idea that we are continuously creating one another physically, emotionally, spiritually. This idea caught fire in me. I could feel the truth of it in my body. We are continuously becoming, always in formation. This idea puts language to what I have felt here at HDS. I have been formed by my fellow students, my professors, the staff, by my Divinity School experience. And yet we also constitute the world. If our bodies are the ones that the world has somehow marked as powerful, if we are read as straight or white or Protestant Christian, we often constitute the world in ways that enforce the structures of power: heteropatriarchy, white supremacy, Christian hegemony. That we are formed by one another allows us to do violence to one another. We have this myth that relationships across difference are inherently disruptive of the status quo. But as I've learned writing my thesis on multi-faith spaces, relationships across difference so often replicate the power structures they are situated in. Relationships across lines of religion or race or class, they're not troublesome in and of themselves, unless they are also oriented towards dismantling the very systems that made it difficult to build them in the first place. This means that a multi-religious divinity school, like theology itself, is not inherently troublesome. The pluralism we espouse does not necessarily stymie injustice, either here or outside our walls.
These ideas are meaningful to Lindsey and I, but they remain ideas. For them to have an afterlife requires life after this place. It requires living, the commencement of our living these ideas into being. How will we be changed by these ideas and live differently tomorrow in light of them? For me, that means letting go of some of the ideas about God that I grew up with. Those ideas vilified so many groups. I now find myself among some of those groups demonized by that theology. More importantly, living out the recognition that theology has no essential qualities, that we make it what it is, will require me to throw my own hat, tassel and all, into the ring. For those buckling under the boot of oppression, it's not enough for me to absorb all of this talk about God and not talk back. Living out theology's indeterminacy will require me to construct theologies of my own, to overcome my uncertainties and insecurities about them, to share them with others, to talk about God until the abolition of policing, to talk about God until sex is not a weapon, to talk about God until the toppling of triumphalist Christian exclusivism. I won't see the realization of much of this. It is the work of many lifetimes, but it is how I will spend this one.
To be totally honest, I'm not sure what the afterlife of these ideas mean for me. I'm one of the ones here today who does not have a pat answer to that inevitable "so what's next?" question. I do know that the ideas formed here in Divinity School live in my body. I do know that being in continuous relation with the world, being constituted by and constituting those around me, calls me to be in community. I do know that my call to ministry will entail weaving communities of people together, likely across lines of difference. So how do you do it in an ethical way? As one who is called to Christian ministry, I aim to continuously orient myself and my communities towards dismantling those systems of power we are situated in, those systems of power that work through us. I can't assume that relationships across difference are inherently disruptive. Being attuned to how power moves through relationships demands humility, continuous reflection, and willingness to take responsibility for the ways in which my body perpetuates harm in those I constitute.
So, class of 2018, what ideas mean the most to you?
What ideas are you ready to relinquish? And on the other hand, what ideas are most important to share, to let constitute yourself and others? How can you make them real and ensure their longevity?
How can you grant them an afterlife?
Thank you. Thank you. So this morning in Tercentenary Theatre, 140 degrees were conferred on the graduating class of 2018 of the Divinity School, inclusive of degrees earned in November, March, and May. So these were comprised of 85 Masters of Theological Studies, 48 Masters of Divinity, 1 Masters of Theology, and 6 Doctors of Theology. So today we have the opportunity in a more intimate setting to celebrate these degrees and the individual attainments they represent. Each graduate will be presented by Associate Dean for Enrollment and Student Services, Tim Wilski. And as each person comes forward to receive their degree, if the graduate has so indicated a desire for us to do so, a brief statement about their plans will be read by Steph Goschel, Assistant Dean for Student Services. So we will award diplomas by degree, beginning with the MTS candidates. MTS.
We now present the graduates for the degree of Master of Theological Studies. As the Dean mentioned, we have a tradition of reading personal statements from each graduate if they have chosen to provide them. We encourage you to celebrate the accomplishments of these wonderful people in whatever way you see fit. So clap, holler as much as you'd like, but please hold your expressions until each personal statement has been read. Enoch Aboy.
Enoch is grateful to family and friends and all who supported him in reaching this important point in his journey in life.
Alize Simin Ahmed.
Alize would like to thank her parents, brother, and sister, without whose love and support she would have never made it here.
Zain Syed Alam.
Zain will be working as an artist and musician in New York City. He has been awarded artist residencies this year with Rec City in Calgary and the Marble House Project in Vermont.
Syed Shiraz Ali.
Shiraz is deeply grateful to his parents, grandparents, and brothers, both those who traveled to be here today and the rest celebrating in Karachi. This fall, he will pursue his doctorate in history.
Mafaz Al-Suwaidan.
Mafaz would like to thank her parents, Tarek and Buthaina, her grandmother Lawe, her siblings, her friends in Kuwait and around the world, and her advisor, Leila Ahmed and Stephanie Paulsell, for their support.
Ahmed Masood Arianku.
He would like to say, thank you, Fifi.
Kelly Hava Banker.
Kelly Hava wishes to express deep gratitude for the love and support of her family, friends, and professors. She is thrilled to begin doctoral work in religious studies at Brown University this fall.
Avi Buket.
Avi would like to extend his warmest thanks, love, and appreciation to his wife, Luna, for encouraging him to go to HDS. Additionally, he would like to thank all the professors he has learned from.
Helen Patricia Byler.
Helen will be returning home to the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia, working in sales administration and getting married.
Nail Ibn Rashid Ahmed Kaji.
After 12 years a Harvard student, from college to dental to divinity school, Nail feels blessed today to be in the presence of his daughter Nafisa, wife Maria, and mother Sabira.
Angel Faith Calvin.
Angel will spend the next year working with the Office of Opportunity and Achievement Gaps at Boston Public Schools, while also considering PhD programs.
Natalie Cherie Harmon Campbell.
Natalie would like to express love and gratitude to all who've supported her these 2 years, especially her husband, Spencer. Your generosity and love has made her time here meaningful and happy.
Rachel Canaday.
Rachel offers thanks to her family, roommates, and partner for laughter, compassionate listening, and baked goods. After graduation, she is headed to Seattle to trade snow boots for hiking boots.
Chuming Chen.
Chuming feels grateful for her parents and grandparents giving birth to her professors who helped her enter into academia, and her friends who are with her in memories of happy times.
Daniel Knassen.
Dan wishes to thank the wonderful faculty and staff members of Harvard Divinity School and the members of Dining Services for making this a truly inclusive and accessible learning environment.
Benedict Copps.
Benedict is grateful to his father, sister, and whole family for their support and kindness throughout this process. Benedict will begin clinical pastoral education residency this summer.
Anne Crosby.
Anne would like to sincerely thank her family and friends, near and far, for their love and support during this journey. After graduation, Anne will explore Buddhist caves in mainland China.
Elliot Claire Davenport.
Elliot is especially thankful to her parents for their unwavering support and to Professor Hallisey for reminding her, quote, "To be modern is to disappoint your parents."
Justin Davis.
Justin is incredibly thankful for the love and support from his family, friends, and mentors, without whom he would not be standing here today.
Iraj de Alwis.
Iraj thanks his parents, his brothers, and his sister for all their love.
Harris Marcel Doman, Jr.
Harris would like to thank God for the blessing of attending HDS and his family and friends for their support during the program. He especially wants to thank his parents for always believing in him.
Abo Dong.
Abo is deeply grateful to the humans of HDS, both on and off the canon, for transforming his understanding of friendship, love, and sacrifice. He will begin his doctoral studies at Emory University.
Robin Elkady.
Robin will also be receiving a master's from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. He wants to thank his parents and the Patton Beck family for their support. Robin will start a PhD at St. Andrews.
Gregory A. Fain.
Greg will be moving on to work in the Jewish community of New England and is deeply grateful to his family for all of their endless support.
Yasmin Flodine Ali.
Yasmin will be pursuing a PhD in Islamic Studies at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. She would like to thank her parents, Kim and Farhan, and sisters Maya and Camilla for all of their support.
Evan Hanks.
Evan would like to thank his partner, Emily, his family, professors, colleagues, and friends for their vital contributions to his success at HDS.
Sean Franklin Higgins, Jr.
Sean will be a resident fellow at the Center for the Study of World Religions next year, where he will be writing about a book about the theosophical history of the CSWR.
Julia Goodnow Hintlian.
Julia will commence doctoral studies in the history of Christianity at Harvard in the fall. She wishes to thank her parents, Molly and Varney, for their perpetual inspiration, love, and support.
Syed Zawar Jaffrey.
Zawar thanks Allah, his mother, father, and family, without whom such a day would have never been possible. He looks forward to moving back to the best coast to pursue work in media and entertainment in Southern California.
Wasquito Jati.
Wasquito would like to thank HDS for the invaluable opportunity to study here, and also his roommates, friends, and his American Jewish family, Ellen and Jim, for their love and support.
Ratdow Jirpapasuk.
Rutdow would like to thank her parents, Kanya and Mano, for the love and compassion even when she decided to go to Divinity School. And she thanks her sister Candy for always being too honest.
Anthony V. John.
In 2 weeks, Anthony will begin training for his first real-world job as a mathematics teaching fellow for the New York City Department of Education.
Ibrahim Kamal.
Ibrahim thanks his parents, Dr. Kamal for always believing in him, and Mrs. Fozia Kamal for being his first and best teacher. Everything he is today and will become tomorrow is a flowering of their love for him.
Benjamin Korda.
Ben will be teaching and facilitating new curriculum at Dharma College, a Buddhist community in Berkeley, California. He would like to thank his parents for their love, support, and encouragement.
Daniel Kraft. Claire Lane.
Claire would like to thank her family and friends for their unconditional support and is grateful to Professors Amy Hollywood, Stephanie Paulsell, and Matthew Potts for their ongoing guidance and inspiration.
Brittany Marie Landorf.
Brittany will be continuing her studies at Emory University. She would like to sincerely thank her parents, Melissa and Kevin, her family and friends, and Sweet Trav for their love and support.
Abdul Rahman Latif.
He prays, "O Allah, accept these efforts from us, guide us, and bless us evermore with beneficial knowledge."
Anthony Lauder.
Anthony would like to thank his family for their love and support, especially Kayla, who remained by his side throughout this journey. Anthony will be attending law school this fall.
Kevin Yusuf Lenfest.
Yusuf is grateful to his family for their love and patience, and to his longtime teacher, Sheikh Abdullah bin Beya, for his guidance, support, and mentorship.
Sasha Lee Lipton Galbraith.
Sasha is deeply grateful for the love and support of her family and friends, and is excited to take the lessons, love, and inspiration she learned at HDS into the field in her humanitarian career.
Jana Loreen.
Jana will be continuing her work in prison education, abolition, and reform in Denver, Colorado. Jana would like to thank her fiancé, Patrick, for his unwavering support over the last 2 years.
James Mackney.
James will begin his doctoral training at the University of Virginia this fall.
Andrew Martinez.
Andrew is so grateful for his partner, Caitlin, whose love and humor makes each day better. He's also excited to finally learn what having a salary feels like.
Lillian Claire McCabe.
Lillian would like to give extra thanks to her parents for their endless support, and to Julia for being a constant source of inspiration and encouragement throughout the past 2 years.
Naomi Mendez.
Naomi is grateful to HDS for supporting her research in Jewish mysticism, which she hopes to continue on the sunny beaches of Southern California. She thanks her family for their unconditional love.
Kaushik Mishra.
Kaushik would like to thank his parents and teachers for their support and love.
Heather Allison Moody.
Heather will join the faculty of the Carleton Global Engagement Program as the instructor of Buddhist philosophy. She is grateful to Mary Mark and Namdroling Monastery for making this life precious.
Francesco Anthony Moriello.
Francesco would like to thank his family, friends, and many of his professors at Harvard for their support. He is currently finishing a monograph for publication based on his doctoral dissertation.
Debbie Nair. Arlene Lysing Navarro.
Arlene is ready for a summer of leisurely reading and reshelving of her book collection. She dedicates this achievement to her family for patiently supporting her interminable state of learning.
And Stephen Nunez. Julia Ogilvie.
Julia will be back in Cambridge in the fall for hospital chaplaincy training. She is so grateful to all the incredible students and faculty who made her so welcome and her time at HDS so very special.
Amaris Samara Olguin.
Amaris thanks her mom and dad for their sacrifices and perseverance. Everything she does for you. She says, quote, "This is for the Oteros from Perandancito, Mexico. My dreams don't have borders, so this Chicana will keep rising."
Gabriela Perez.
Gabby is deeply appreciative to Harvard's custodians, cooks, and security personnel for providing community and words of encouragement.
Kat Pojay.
Kat is an incoming doctoral candidate in the history of science at Harvard. She gives her thanks and love to all of the women who have held her hand.
Michael Poole.
After graduation, Mike will be the Director of International Student Advising at the Newman School in Boston. Thanks to all his family, friends, and folks at HDS for their support along the way.
Nicole Anise Powell.
Nicole would like to thank her mom, her dad, and her nana for being the best parents she could ask for.
Naya Poyer.
Naya would like to thank their parents, Lenore and David, for their love and support for Naya's inscrutable life choices, such as an art major followed by Divinity School.
Ian Ramsey North.
Ian is grateful to the HDS community for its warmth and generosity, to his family for their guidance and support, and to his wife for her love and wisdom, which lit the way of his meandering path.
Bertha Rivera Fubini.
Bertha wants to thank her husband David and her children Michael, William, Anna, and Marco for their loving support and encouragement through this extraordinary experience. Thanks also to Dr. Ann Monias.
Sprightly Roach.
HDS has taught Sprightly much and has also taught him how much more he has to learn. Sprightly thanks family and friends, Holly, Morgan, and Doug, who got him here and stood by through good times and bad.
Randy Scott Rosenthal.
Randy wishes to thank his parents, Sue and Michael. He owes them everything. After graduating, Randy will begin teaching writing classes here at Harvard and continue to work as an editor and writer.
Sam Selsky.
Next month, Sam will go to Oregon, where he plans to drink his parents' beer while he figures out his life.
Courtney Sender.
After graduation, Courtney will return to writing fiction, working on a novel manuscript about almost miracles, broken hearts, and going back in time. She is grateful to her HDS mentors and the HDS essay.
Hyun Shin. Alan Simon. Eric Andrusinski.
After spending far too many nights in Yenching Library and days at the desk in Andover Hall, Eric will be taking his signature red jacket to UCLA this fall. He thanks his family and friends, both near and far, for their love and support.
Pratiksha Srinivasa.
Pratiksha is incredibly grateful to her parents, whose unconditional love and timely interventions have kept her going.
Salva Tareen.
Salva would like to thank her parents, Nani, and sisters for their support and sincere attempts to understand what one does at Divinity School. She will also be pursuing her doctorate in anthropology at BU.
Venerable Nedagamuwe Samita Tero.
First, he can't wait to see his family in Sri Lanka after 2 years. Then, beginning in November 2018, he will be volunteering as a Buddhist minister for the Kinetic Buddhist Temple, Hartford.
Emma Christie Vanden Terrell.
Emma would like to thank her mother, father, brothers, Megan and Erica, and her husband Daniel for all of their support throughout this degree. She is excited to be moving to Germany this summer.
Lucia Cristina Villavicencio Cornejo.
Lucia wants to thank her mom for being a source and example of strength, wisdom, love, and support. Also, she wants to thank her friends for journeying with her, for all the laughs and inspiration.
Harlow Renying Wang.
Harlow would like to thank her family for their support, the friends she met here for making these 2 years so enjoyable, and her professors for teaching such interesting topics.
Amber C. Uhouse.
Amber would like to thank her parents, Heather and Joshua Lee, as well as her grandparents, aunts, and uncles for their continual love and support.
Lynn Zhao. She has a statement.
She does, really. And it's quite one. While her former goal was to prove that she is not a stupid person, her goal in the next 5 decades is to prove that Harvard's not stupid in decision making.
Would the MTS graduates please rise? All of you. Dean Hempton, members of the faculty, family, and friends, I present to you the Master of Theological Studies graduates of 2018. You may be seated. We now present graduates for the degree of Master of Divinity. Zainab Abdelghani.
Zainab will be working full-time for the Greater Boston Interfaith Organization to organize local churches, mosques, and synagogues around racial and economic justice. She is tremendously grateful to Allah, her parents, her husband, her family and friends, her teachers, as well as her community for their love, support, and guidance.
Jenna Leanne Alatriste.
Jenna would like to thank her husband for his unwavering support and love, and her parents for encouraging her dreams. Jenna plans to work as a chaplain and yoga instructor.
Philip Wesley Bala.
Philip thanks his partner Chad, his mom Karen, and his father Bill for all their support. Philip also wants to thank Professor Charles Stang for his extraordinary guidance and assistance.
Daniel Beckton.
Daniel gives thanks today, especially for the support of his parents, Nancy and John, and his partner, Alexa.
Michelle Bensman. Chloe Alyssa Bride.
Chloe will be starting a chaplaincy residency at Mass General in September and would like to thank her parents, grandfather, partner, and friends. Thanks, y'all.
Walker Alexander Bristol.
Walker is thankful for his father's supportive presence, his brother's creative spirit, his godmother's ambition, and his mother's wisdom. With his family, he holds Charlie and Joanne in the light.
Nadia Brock.
Nadia is grateful for the support and sincerity of everyone at HDS. She will stay in Boston after graduation, working in the field of dialogue with conflicts involving values, identity, and beliefs.
Stephen Cairns Carmody.
Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter.
Alana Cody.
Alana will go on to work in a research lab with the Boston VA, studying and developing treatments for trauma and moral injury. She thanks her family, friends, and mentors for their support.
Morgan Curtis. Jiaying Ding.
Jiaying thanks HDS teachers and staff who guided and gave generously from their craft. She thanks her family for their love, perseverance, and life experience, which prepared her for this journey.
Nathan Doney. Hal Massoth Edmondson.
After a summer reading books in which the word subjectivity does not appear, Hal will be working at the Harvard Episcopal Chaplaincy and pursuing ordination in the Episcopal Church.
Emmanuel Enrique Scamilla.
Has the Lord not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go.
Keith C. Esposito.
Keith would like to thank his family for their support, especially his fiancée, Robin.
Megan Marie Finn. Louisa Evelyn Fish Saden. Aileen Fitzke.
Aileen will be doing her ministerial internship at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Binghamton, New York, starting in the fall.
Lindsey Weed Franklin.
Lindsey is inspired by her classmates and is grateful to have shared space and conversation with you all. She is moving to Richmond, Virginia, where she aims to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly.
Sally Fritchie.
Sally's next step toward ordination in the Unitarian Universalist tradition will be a ministerial internship at First Parish UU in Needham, Massachusetts, under HDS alum Reverend Katie Scudera.
Timothy Lynch Galati.
Timothy studied experiences of silence in nature and contemplative practice, with applications in virtual and augmented realities.
Alfredo Garcia Garza.
Alfredo is grateful to his cousins, Jose and Diego, for coming with his mother to graduation. Alfredo says, "Gracias por venir, ma."
Charles Joseph Griggs.
Charles has studied Buddhism and paganism with a specific focus on ethics and embodied experiences of traditions. He plans to go into Navy chaplaincy and continue his ministry in Buddhism.
Devin Jacobson.
Devin would like to thank his professors, friends, his mother and father, and especially his wife, Haley, for their extraordinary generosity and trust, which he hopes to perpetuate in his work after HDS.
Catherine Kletznick.
Katie wishes to thank Billy, Professor Paulsell, Professor Hallisey, Carrie and Jim, Harry Huff, Annie Russell, Sophia, both moms, and again Billy, first and last.
Sarah Koss.
Sarah would like to express her gratitude for HDS faculty and staff, religious nuns and friends, and her family and fiancé. Your unwavering support, love, and friendship made this experience whole.
Melissa Lago.
Melissa is deeply grateful to her loving family, friends, mentors, and teachers who support and inspire her on her journey. She looks forward to continuing to write and teach.
Mac Lofton.
Mac will be staying at Harvard to pursue his PhD in theology. He would like to thank his parents and his brother for all their support.
Sarah Bellows Meister.
Sarah will serve as summer minister at UU Wellesley before heading to California to complete a CPE residency at UCSF. She wishes to thank her family, Elizabeth, Helmut, Anna, Dan, Miles, Mark, and Nancy.
Naohito Miura.
Naohito will continue his studies at Harvard as a doctoral candidate in the Committee on the Studies of Religion. He would like to thank his parents, brothers, teachers, and friends for their love and support.
Jane Elizabeth Moran.
After graduation, Jane will be pursuing a career in parish ministry. She would like to thank her mother and father for everything they have done for her.
Chandra Karina Plowden.
Chandra dedicates her M.Div degree to her late father, John Edward Plowden, and says, quote, "You said I could do it, and I did. Hope I made you proud. I'll tell you all about it when I get to the other side."
Alexander Price.
Alexander has been awarded a summer graduate student research fellowship at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C., and will be applying to doctoral programs in the fall.
Christopher Sherson Rude.
Christopher wants to thank the people of Wisconsin, British Columbia, and Massachusetts for their support and care over many years.
Amanda Michelle Rice.
Mandy has spent 3 years pursuing queer spiritual genius in theory and in practice. She thanks all those who have accompanied her. She will continue to embody fabulousness in the greater Boston area while working on her first book.
Michael Robinson.
Michael would like to thank the HDS community for their love and support, and specifically Professor Levinson, Nasrallah, Rose, Sanchez, and Teeter for the impact they've had on his life.
Sana Saeed.
Sana is thankful for the 11 family and friends who have traveled from Japan, Myanmar, and the USA for the celebration. With squad goals accomplished, she'll learn about Shintoism this summer in Japan on a scholarship.
Denson Glenn Staples.
Denson is grateful for companionship, whether from family, friends, mentors, professors, or lovers, throughout this Div School journey.
Andrew R.D. Stouffer.
Andrew thanks his family, friends, and professors. He'll be working with a nonprofit to help cultivate leadership skills in Boston youth, and will continue to search for the divine in avant-garde jazz.
Antoine Steele.
Antoine is grateful for all the family, friends, and mentors who supported him on this journey. He receives this degree in loving memory of his grandmother, Letty C. Steele.
Taylor Danielle Stewart.
Taylor is grateful to her family and friends for their continuous support throughout her HDS journey. She's also thankful for her amazing colleagues, faculty, and staff that she has come to know well over the past 3 years. Taylor will begin her PhD work in counseling psychology at Boston College in the fall.
An Huang Tran.
For her parents, Peter Huang and Han Tran, her sisters, teachers, friends, and all beings who bring her into existence, in true love there is freedom. This is a legendary moment.
Andrew James Bennett Van Tyne.
Next year, AJ will be the ministerial intern at the Boulder Valley UU Fellowship in Colorado. He gives thanks to his marvelous wife, Ada, for her unwavering support and partnership.
Matthew David Weinstein.
Knowing good and well what God thinks of our plans, Matt has made only a few. To enjoy nature, to be loving, kind, and generous with all people, and to strive to be happy in all circumstances.
William Hodges Williamson.
William would like to sincerely thank his parents, Nancy and Charlie, for all their support. He would also like to thank his roommates and friends for putting up with him.
Would all the M.Div graduates please rise? Dean Hampton, members of the faculty, family, and friends, I present to you the Master of Divinity graduates of 2018. You may be seated. This year we present one graduate for the degree of Master of Theology. Dongyi Bei.
Dong Yi majored in classics at Amherst College and graduated with an MDiv at HDS in 1999. Dong Yi will be working as executive director at Korean United Methodist Church of Greater Washington.
And we're going to have Dong Yi stay right up here and for a moment. Oh, Dong Yi. All right, never mind. Why don't you stay right there, Dong Yi? Dean Hampton, members of the faculty, family, and friends, I present to you the Master of Theology graduate of 2018. We now present the graduates for the Doctor of Theology. Eleanor Catherine Craig.
Dissertation title, Unimaginable Boundaries, Performativity, Theology, and the Study of Trauma. Eleanor is Administrative and Program Director and Lecturer in the Committee on Ethnicity, Migration, and Rights at Harvard. Eleanor is thankful for unconditionally supportive family, friends, and mentors.
Eunyoung Lim.
Dissertation title, Entering God's Kingdom, Not Like a Little Child. Images of the child in the Gospel of Matthew, 1 Corinthians, and the Gospel of Thomas. And Young is grateful to HDS for her husband James, who she first met at Rockefeller Hall in 2005. Special thanks to Ethan, who inspired his mom to finish her dissertation.
Jennifer Aileen Quigley.
Dissertation title, Divine Accounting, Theoeconomics, and the Letters to the Philippians. Jennifer will be starting this summer as Assistant Professor of New Testament and Early Christian Studies and Louisville Postdoctoral Fellow at Drew University.
Scott Rice.
Dissertation title, A Living History, Trinity and Divine Activity in the Theology of Karl Barth, Wolfhart Pennetberg, and Robert W. Jensen. Scott would like to thank his spouse Abby and his family for their support and love.
Tyler Matthew Schwaller.
Dissertation title, The Use of Slaves in Early Christianity, Slaves as Subjects of Life and Thought. Tyler is Assistant Professor of Religious Studies and Chaplain at Wesleyan College. He is especially thankful for amazing collegiality within New Testament and Early Christian Studies, the absolute best advisor, Laura Nasrallah, and the love and inspiration of his partner, Will, and for his bestie, Kelsey.
Craig Henry Tischelkamp.
Dissertation title, Experiencing the Word, Dionysian Mystical Theology in the Contemporaries of Thomas Gallus. Craig looks forward to teaching Latin at HDS's summer language program. He would like to thank his partner David and his parents Gwen and John for their love and support.
Okay. Would the doctoral graduates please rise? Dean Hempton, members of the faculty, family, and friends, I present to you the Th.D. graduates of 2018.
Thank you, Tim, Steph, Annie, all the members of the Offices of Student Services for all your work, thought, and effort to make this ceremony so festive and so seamless. I'd like to thank also everyone who's contributed to putting up tents and tables and chairs and service. So I hope to meet and see many of you at our luncheon under the tent just at the other side on Francis Avenue. I wish everyone the very best of luck and look forward to hearing about your accomplishments in the future. And let's give all our graduates one last round of applause. So I ask that our guests remain seated until all graduates have processed out of the tent. The platform party and faculty will now lead the graduates out of the tent. Thank you so much for being with us.